Ladies, let's talk about something today that nobody warned us about when we were little girls. Sometimes you weren't too sensitive, you weren't too dramatic, you weren't hard to love. You were just noticeable. And not everyone knows how to handle a girl or a woman who walks into a room with presence. I can remember being in kindergarten and I had a teacher who did not like me. I wasn't a bad kid. I wasn't disruptive, but she would call my parents with complaints that didn't match who I was. And as a child, you don't think, this adult feels threatened by my presence. You think, what's wrong with me? But psychology tells us something important. This dynamic, it starts early for certain children, especially girls who show confidence, verbal ability, emotional awareness, or leadership traits. Research on teacher bias and social comparison shows that children who stand out socially or academically can be treated more harshly by authority figures who feel unconsciously challenged. And this is straight from the Journal of Educational Psychology. This isn't just about beauty, it's about presence, your aura. Some women carry natural confidence, emotional intelligence, talent, leadership energy, charisma, and strong identity. And people feel that before you say a word. Psychology calls this status threat. When someone perceives your competence, attractiveness, or confidence as a threat to their own social standing. Studies show that high-performing or high-visibility individuals often experience social exclusion or subtle sabotage. Not because they did anything wrong, but because they trigger comparison in others. Festinger's social comparison theory. Humans evaluate themselves by comparing to others. If someone feels less than in your presence, your existence becomes uncomfortable to them. So when this happens over and over growing up, women learn, if I shine, I get targeted. So what do? We start downplaying achievements, shrinking in rooms, overgiving to be liked, apologizing for existing. But here's the twist. As we mature, especially after 40, we stop shrinking and suddenly we lose people. Not because we changed into something worse, but because we stopped performing smallness. We stopped shrinking to fit in rooms where we're not wanted. Research on adult female friendship dynamics shows that women who increase self-confidence and boundary setting later in life often experience friendship turnover due to shifting power dynamics. So you're not crazy if you're losing friends. You're not crazy if people are telling you that you've changed. You didn't change. You just step into your power. Now let's talk about envy because it's one of the most misunderstood emotions. Envy isn't just, I want what she has. It's often, if she has that, what does that say about me? Studies in social psychology show that envy often leads to indirect aggression, including gossip, exclusion, minimizing achievements, or subtle put downs. And, I think there was a video that I made about a young lady who was unalived on a girl trip that she took. And she went there thinking that she was going with her friends, and they plotted to beat her up and unalive her. So if I can remember her name, I'll put her name here so you can go back. I'll put the video here so you can go back and watch it, because it's really important to know that the aggression comes because there's something about this woman's light that they saw, that they wanted, that they didn't have. And here's the kicker. The more gracious and kind you are, the more confusing you are to someone who envies you. Because you didn't earn their resentment. You didn't do anything. You didn't have any bad behavior that made them resent you. So what do at that point? They start to invent reasons. They start gossiping. They start gang stalking. They recruit. They recruit people to get on their side, right? For whatever narrative it is that they want to put out there about you. Now, let's be clear. This is not about being skinny and not about being the prettiest either. Not about fitting society's beauty standards. It's about your presence, your impact, and your authenticity. You can be plus size, makeup free, quiet, introverted, and still make insecure people feel exposed. Because the trigger is not your body, it's your unapologetic selfhood. Studies on self-concept threat show people react negatively to others who display authenticity and self-assurance when they themselves feel insecure about their own identity. So when you show up and you're like, yep, I'm just me, like it or not, take it or leave it, whatever, they're just like, it triggers them because they don't feel they can do that. So kids who are emotionally mature, verbally advanced, creative, independent thinkers often get labeled difficult, bossy, or just plain too much, especially girls. And research also shows that confident young girls are often socially penalized in ways boys are not, leading to early experiences of rejection tied to visibility and voice, which is, what happened to me in my kindergarten class. And it's like, what did I do, right? So by the time you get to adulthood, many women have had a long history of being subtly pushed out of places where they should have belonged. Maybe you're not alone because something is wrong with you. Maybe you're alone because you stopped entertaining people who needed you smaller so they could feel bigger. That's not arrogance. That's psychological maturity on your part. So for all my ladies over 40 out there, if you've ever been the woman people admired quietly, undermined socially, you're not imagining it. You're not too much, and you don't have to shrink to make others comfortable anymore. The right people will not compete with your light. They will light you up even brighter. They will support you, and they will appreciate everything you bring to the table authentically. If this resonated, drop a fire emoji in the comments and share this with a woman who's been told she was too much her whole life. And welcome to Authentically Her After 40, where we stop shrinking and start understanding why things are the way they are. I love you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.